Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw News Brief, we're going to talk WWE's issues with finding a home for SummerSlam. I'm going to review last night's Impact Wrestling, and we're going to preview tonight's editions of AEW and NXT. But first, apparently Cody has commented on the possibility of signing some noted free agents. Larson, what's in the news?
Yeah, so in a recent interview with ESPN, Cody was asked about the possibility of signing several noted free agents out there in the world of pro wrestling. Perhaps the most prominent name amongst those, Rey Mysterio. So Cody was asked about Rey coming to AEW. This is what Cody had to say, quote, "To me, the greatest luchador ever of all time, hands down, is Rey Mysterio Jr., and he's got friends here. Jericho and him are friends. Mysterio is not afraid to travel out there either. He's not a one-company individual, and I think Rey still has a lot left to give in terms of wrestling. That might be something that someone is currently discussing with him at this point. You never know."
He says that it's something that someone else is currently discussing with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean,
I guess that means someone. I would assume that means someone else within AEW.
Oh, that's a huge assumption to make.
That might be someone that. Well, the question is he going to come here to AEW? He's got a lot. That might be something that someone else is currently discussing with him at this point. You never know. I interpret that to mean like Cody's not talking to Rey currently. Maybe someone within AEW is talking to him.
Okay. Yeah. So Rey's deal with WWE expired some time ago, apparently, and he's been locked in a stalemate with the company over a new deal. Rey wants a raise. And WWE's like, no raise, but we'll push Dominic to the moon. How about that? And he apparently is like, I want De Niro.
Yeah.
Wait,
hold on a second. Yeah. How do you interpret that sentence about that? That might be something that someone else is currently discussing with him at this point.
I just as what it is, someone else. That could mean anybody, though.
Well, yeah. I guess within the context of the question asked, I just assumed that meant someone else within AEW might be discussing the possibility of that with him.
Well, if they're smart, they'd reach out to him. I mean, I'm sure there are many other people talking to Rey about going to their company.
Definitely.
Sure Impact is talking to him.
I'm sure New Japan is talking to him. I'm sure any company that has the ability to sign him is talking to him, or trying to talk to him. Yeah,
I have no doubt. I mean, he was at All In. I have no doubt that AEW is probably reaching out to him. So, yeah, and if they make an offer that he likes, perhaps Rey and Dominic will be making their way over to All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that could be an interesting one. Yeah, I mean he's definitely he's one of the few people who I definitely think of as a needle mover.
Yeah.
He's a big legendary name with seemingly an endless gas tank because he still puts on really good, really fun matches.
He does.
I've really enjoyed Rey Mysterio really has made a turnaround for me as a fan. Because there was a period of time when I could kind of care less about the guy, yeah, like his work in WWE especially has been, I thought, really good. Like his promos, they're like he's older, he's more grizzled now, but he still has like a really cool, like his matches with Andrade were just spectacular. And there's plenty of people in AEW, if used right, that he could have some really fun matches with. But time will tell. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be difficult. I think that if WWE catches a whiff of Rey going to AEW, I don't know, man. I think they might give him that Rey's Mysterio.
It may be. I mean, it depends how tight Vince is getting with the financial aspect of things. It's not as simple as AEW. They have the means to sign a prominent talent and bring them in. They're not beholden to any stockholders like Vince is. There's a profit margin that he has to deliver on. So, whether there's wiggle room there to sign someone like Rey Mysterio, who knows? But going back to Rey's last run, WWE current run, like his promo work is probably the best of his career. Just off the charts good. For a wrestler as established, as legendary as himself, his willingness to be creative, to continually adapt to what's going on in the current wrestling landscape, it just speaks volumes about him. Rey has been like super entertaining during this last WWE run. He's been absolutely great.
So there's one additional bit of context for the Rey Mysterio WWE stuff. WWE put an update out yesterday that says WWE Digital has learned that Rey Mysterio's vision is improving slowly every day, and that his optic nerve is intact, completely secured and back in its socket. A timeline for Mysterio's return to the ring is unknown at this time. Voices of Wrestling's Twitter account then retweeted that with the comment, "We're rooting for you, Rey. Please pull through and make sure to listen to the local medical facility professionals." Dave Meltzer says, in response to that, "That's Carney for we're making progress in getting him to sign. Never before has a man's eyesight been at stake in a decision over whether or not to leave a promotion." Somebody named Goggles Hannon73 on Twitter says maybe his vision is code for reviewing the contract, and the more he sees, the more he likes. At which point Dave Meltzer says it depends on their ability to convince him they're broke and can't afford raises. And if he reads the latest analyst article about how the pandemic has ended up saving them money and profits are higher than ever if there is no pandemic. So I don't know. I wonder if the update with Rey Mysterio is some sort of sign that negotiations are going well.
Oh, entirely possible. We've heard that he's made at least one trip to Stamford to talk directly to Vince about contract stuff. So it's entirely possible. I mean, I would give WWE the advantage in any sort of in terms of bringing him back as opposed to him going elsewhere, because it's the largest platform, probably the most amount of money he could be offered. Plus, if they're saying heck, we can give Dominic a prominent spot, which was evident this past Monday on Raw, then that's probably worth just as much, if not more, I would think, to Rey, than a substantial raise, an opportunity for his kid. Yeah,
I don't know. It is I am kind of curious to know what the varying priorities and weighing factors are. Push for my kid, money. I don't know.
Some combination thereof, yeah.
Yeah. He's not the only free agent on the market, though. Larson. Cody also commented on potentially signing other free agents. Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder. I'm sorry, I should say FKA Zack Ryder. And Miro, FKA Rusev. He said this. Cody said this, rather. "I think there are two free agents that are on a lot of people's radar, that being Miro, formerly Rusev, and Matt Cardona, who is Zack Ryder. Obviously, those free agents should be on any radar. They have literally drawn money. They have TV experience. They have high-profile experience. They have locker room experience. The pros heavily outweigh the cons. Those are two great free agents. I'm not going to go as far as to say that if I had to sign anybody, those would be the two that I would sign, but I think they're great free agents. I think if they have the passion for pro wrestling, they're going to continue to succeed." I think
shortly after that, he also talks about how, given the shape of the roster now and how some people still haven't been established, like the feasibility of bringing in high-profile free agents, whether that's the right thing for AEW to do. Just more of a discussion as opposed to a clear-cut answer, but some additional context.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is an issue. They have a stacked roster. They have they have a lot of people on their roster. They're building even more people. If you look at Dark, I was talking about this yesterday on the Impact stream. If you look at Dark, there was like 11 matches, I think, maybe 12, and the vast majority of them were like a name wrestler versus one of the developmental guys, like a Willie Hobbs or whatever. So they're building up, they're trying to build people, and they already have really, really crowded scenes. I mean, they've got the world title scene, obviously. They've got the Cody's title scene, and then now they could potentially make a scene out of the FTW title. And they could have 10 deep for each of those titles, realistically. So yeah, it'll be interesting. They're great names. We'll see where they land.
Yeah, totally. I mean, neither of them popped up on Impact during Slammiversary, which is kind of seemingly Impact's, unveiling of their roster additions.
There might be, yeah. With Zack Ryder,
they couldn't add more talent, but
with Matt Cardona, that would lead me to believe that he is simply waiting out his opportunities. I mean, Miro had that unfortunate bout with COVID that he's probably still dealing with. That might have gotten in the way of some Impact plans. So that might still be a thing with him. We'll see.
And, of course, Matt Cardona and Cody are pretty close. They're good friends. So Cody's spoken about that in the past and how he doesn't want that to be the sole determining factor about whether he signs them or not. But you got to think AEW is the front runner in terms of bringing them in.
It's a tricky situation. I mean, you don't want to be known as the company that's just bringing in anybody from WWE who happens to be released. You don't want to be that company. I think you don't want to get that knock. TNA, oh, what's so-and-so doing in the Impact Zone? That became a joke for a very good reason. There's one other free agent, of course, on the market. Speaking of Impact, former Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard. Cody said this about her. I don't know a lot about the current situation with her in Impact. Tully, her father, is in AEW. That's more Kenny Omega, Brandy Rhodes, and Tony Khan carving out the growing and evolving women's division. They'd have more of a beat on that. She was part of All In for us, and anyone who was part of All In has a place in my heart. On a personal level, I always want all the second and third generation wrestlers to have the best experience. She has a lot of talent. I'm sure it's something Kenny, Brandy, and Tony have discussed. Up in the air with Tessa. Like, up in the air there, man. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Also up in the air, Larson. A home for SummerSlam.
Yes.
On yesterday's news brief, we talked about how WWE's quest to do something different with this year's SummerSlam. Maybe have it on a beach, or on a boat, or on a boat and a beach. WrestleVotes has provided some additional details, tweeting yesterday, the lengths WWE are going to find a location for SummerSlam are both astonishing and outlandish. Are those two words fairly synonymous, Larson? I feel like they kind of are.
Astonishing, I guess you're astonished. You're like, wow, that's surprising to an extreme level, but outlandish is like, it's off the charts. It's overboard. So he's talking boat. It's got to be boat. Barge of international waters.
Okay, and so to further bolster the idea that it could be on a boat, Larson, today, WrestleVotes even offered up even more details. Some would say actual details, stating this. WWE has looked into hosting SummerSlam within the Northeast at an outdoor location with limited fans, and as of now have found no interested states in allowing that to happen. So, Larson.
Boat, barge, international waters.
Listen, hold on a second. I've got my COVID-19 tracker right in front of me. I've got the map.
All right.
I've got the map where these hotspots are.
Well, it can't just be a tracker situation because you gotta match up the tracker with whatever regulations or social distancing measures those states have implemented.
Regulation, smegulation, Larson, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, man, the Boston mayor said no events before Labor Day. They seem to be holding that because SummerSlam just got canceled.
Listen,
all right.
Listen.
So don't just brush those aside.
Do you have the COVID tracker in front of you? No, I'm the COVID tracker. I'm the official COVID tracker. All right.
You got to match that up with regulations and how they're being enforced.
Regulations are nothing. Just listen. You keep on interrupting me. Regulations are nothing but red tape that can be cut through with money and politicking. Listen, the entirety of Wyoming virtually untouched by COVID. Large swaths of Nevada virtually untouched by COVID.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me interrupt for a second. When do you think SummerSlam? Do you think Wyoming?
The arid desert of Nevada.
Yeah, do you think Winnemucca, Nevada as your home for SummerSlam?
Oh, man. I will if they put it there. I'll think whatever they want me to
Cheyenne,
think.
Wyoming as your home for SummerSlam.
Yeah, like
you know what? Neither of those states have oceanfront property,
beaches,
much less docks to launch a barge to sail for international waters. That's if they're going to have a show with fans. They got to get like 15 miles off, 50 miles. I don't remember what in terms of like
international waters
to reach international waters from the country's borders. That's what they got to do, international waters. Then they can pretty much do whatever they want.
All right, man. I'll tell you what. You know what, Larson? You're turning SummerSlam into a bummer slam. How about we just move on and talk about Impact? Larson, take a spell. Sit a spell.
Did this show happen in somebody's backyard? Because I saw a still, and it looked like it was in somebody's backyard.
I'm going to make this quick because we're already at 14 minutes here on News Brief. I don't want to turn this into a news beef. So they introduced the thing. So the first match of the night was Ed Edwards beating Ricochet. That's Trey. Because the dude actually looks and wrestles a lot like Ricochet.
You didn't ask my question. Is this in somebody's backyard?
I was getting to the backyard stuff, man. Relax.
Sorry. That's
so
really
anyways,
the only question I want answered.
Yeah, there's a backyard involved. So Ed Edwards, of course, beat Ricochet, and then Eric Young with his angry nipples came to the stage to threaten Ed Edwards, with violence. Yeah,
Yeah.
After that, we had the debut of Wrestle House. Now, this is what you're talking about. Wrestle House is, you remember Friendo House?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's Friendo House, but for wrestling. Remember Real World?
Yeah, of course I do.
It's Real World, but it's wrestling. It's Tommy Dreamer's investment property that he's allowing 15 or so of the Impact wrestlers who aren't around doing anything in the Impact zone. They're doing like a reality show type thing, and basically they settle their in-house arguments and disputes via a backyard ring. It was cute. It was charming. Parts of it were funny. For example, Johnny Swinger insisting that Crazy Steve is his young boy. Just because the term young boy never makes me, it makes me laugh. There were 2 matches in the Wrestle House backyard ring, one between the Deaners over who gets the bed of their room. And there was another match between, what's his name? AC, the dude, the big fella.
AC Romero, yeah.
AC Romero and, Crazy Steve, I think. To determine who gets to sleep in the Wrestle House ring in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
AC Romero won that match, and then the bigger Diener won their match. I forget which one is which.
So since AC won, does that mean he gets to sleep in the ring or he gets to sleep in the house?
He gets to sleep in the ring because they both tried to bunk up in the ring, and they were like, hey, I want to sleep here. And Crazy Steve's like, there's enough room for both of us.
Yeah, there is enough room for both.
And AC was like, no, it's my ring. So they had
a smaller ring. If it's like a 12 by 12 ring, that's still plenty of room for 2 people.
Yeah, no, it's like an 18-foot ring, I think.
All right.
WWE's is 20, I think, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, Wrestle House, it was too long. It was way too long. A lot of the humor was cringy, but it was cute. It was charming. They looked like they're having fun, so it was all right. EC3 talked about, he had like a video promo, and he talked about controlling his narrative means erasing his past. Now, I don't think that means he's a time-traveling wrestler. I think he's going to go back and like wrestle whoever was there when he was there. And the first person he's targeting is Moose, the current the unofficial TNA World Champion, who, I'll be honest with you, looks, acts, and is treated more like their actual world champion than Ed Edwards is. Ed Edwards, he's got the vibe of just sort of like sort of Slavic Hot Topic worker. He's a decent enough, like he's a good wrestler. He'd be like a lower mid-card WWE wrestler. I was like, oh, cool. He's been in Impact forever. It's cool that he has their championship. But now that I see more of him, I'm like, he's kind of underwhelming.
I mean, it could be a situation. He's a solid, reliable guy.
That's got to be it.
They can put the belt on to kind of help them get through this period.
Yeah. An actual inspired choice for their Knockouts championship, Deonna Purrazzo put on a pretty good match with Kimber Lee, where she, of course, worked on her arm the entire match. Purrazzo made Kimber Lee tap out to the Fujiwara armbar. Jordan Grace hits the ring. Deonna runs off, so they're going to get back into it. But Jordan Grace was nursing the injured arm from Slammiversary. Backstage, Sami Callihan ran into Katie Forbes, who is, of course, RVD's pornographic girlfriend. She accuses him of being just a fan who's backstage, and he shouldn't be. RVD intervenes, tells Sami Callihan, hey, look, you can look, but if you want more, you have to go to her website, which is just her OnlyFans site. She was out next to reveal her revealing pictures that you can only see at her website. But Sami Callihan, the hacker, had gotten in her video presentation.
Wow, this is inspired creative right here.
And altered the pictures to put his photoshopped head on them. And he would say like rude things like, look at my website, I'm gross, stuff like that. It was really bad, kind of entertaining. After that, we had Rich Swann with a really sleepy interview. He's going to do another interview, I guess, next week. Or no, he's going to do a promo next week explaining like how cleared he is or something. I don't know. Anyways, the main event saw the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. Anderson wearing, by the way, camo jorts and a cut off sleeveless shirt to the ring and wrestled in that. They just look like they're more concerned about, are they going to have proper streaming capability for this weekend's Talkin' Shop-A-Mania, which they advertised also. This is a fun enough match, though. Good Brothers beat Reno Scum with a Magic Killer. Yeah. After that, Ace Austin and NWO Caljack, Madman Fulton came to the ring. They ended up brawling to the back and then to the parking lot. And then they ended Impact with one of the guys getting kicked into the guy holding whatever iPhone they were using to film this. And then that went out. It like glitched out.
And that was how they ended the show.
Yeah. Impact is fun. Look, these Impact streams that I've been doing every Tuesday night, wildly popular. 400. We almost had 400 strong last night, where you get to watch actual Impact on the screen while I'm there reacting to it. It's a lot of fun. So if for no other reason, like Impact is fun to watch when you're watching it with other people. There's some actual good stuff. There's some stuff that's just sort of fun to make fun of. The Rascals did another one of their That 70s Show, like stoner basement things skits, but this time they brought in like suicide for it, and that was kind of funny because like he was trying to eat through the mask and he was high while he was doing it.
That's fun.
It's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. It's a good place for people to go and ply their trade, man. So
that's fun. That's fun.
Good job, Impact.
Speaking of places the wrestlers can ply their trade, we got AEW and NXT tonight. First in the AEW preview, doesn't look like we'll be doing a watch along with Dynamite tonight.
We're gonna take it. We're just gonna enjoy it sort of without having to be on camera tonight. But maybe next week we'll come back with something.
Yeah, it'll be a week by week thing.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, advertised in advance, Cody versus Warhorse for the TNT Championship. That should be really good. The story of this isn't so much can Warhorse win, it's can Warhorse last 5 minutes with Cody. Guessing the answer is going to be a yes on that.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Inner Circle versus Best Friends and Jurassic Express. 5-on-5 tag team action. We get a tag title match. Kenny, Hangman Page, taking on Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, the Dark Order. And then I would guess this would be the main event. Mox and Darby Allin teaming up to take on Who Can Stop the Path to Cage and Ricky Starks.
I hope Taz throws in the towel in this one, too. That's got to be his new gimmick. Over on NXT, we've got, this should be terrific, North American title opportunity triple threat match. Finn Balor, Dexter Lumis, and Thatch Can battling it out in a triple threat match. That should be a lot of fun. Keith Lee responds to Karrion Kross's heinous actions on Dominic Dijakovic. That's going to happen. Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong take their issue to the ring.
That's going to be a hell of a match.
That's going to be a banger. Shotzi Blackheart battles Mercedes Martinez, now of the Robert Stone brand. That should be some fun stuff. The tag team champs, Imperium, they return to action tonight.
Awesome.
Against who knows? And then Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas collide in a pivotal cruiserweight matchup. Something tells me this is going to determine who's going to be up next for Santos Escobar's Cruiserweight Championship.
I think you're onto something.
I should rather say this will determine who's going to lose to Santos Escobar for that Cruiserweight Championship.
I think you're onto something.
Regardless, should be a good match. We will be doing our AEW review live on Twitch tonight. We're not going to be doing a watch along with the show, but after the show goes off the air, we're going to be doing our review live. So hopefully you guys will join us for that.
Yep.
Live at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.